My obstetrician told me when I was pregnant that there was no physical way that I could give birth naturally. And I completely proved him wrong. Anyone can do it. And if you'd like to know how to, click the like button and subscribe, and let's get into it. So this is going to be a little bit of a different video for YouTube, because what I was actually doing when I put this video together, I was literally filming myself on Zoom, typing notes of how I was going to do a live stream on this. And I did the live, and then I looked back and I actually thought my note taking and preparation was better because it was far more authentic and real. And I went off on these tangents that are so beautiful and offer so much more insights that I really think that you'll get a lot more value out of, as opposed to me doing it completely again and losing a little bit of that authenticity and making it so YouTube perfect. I find that when you say, I want something, the reason why you are less likely to manifest it is because you're telling yourself you don't have it. So you're actually reinforcing a belief of something that you don't have. Meaning, my story with my obstetrician. Oh, my obstetrician who I later sacked. My first appointment with my obstetrician, he decided to do an internal examination of my vagina. He's the second man on earth ever to go in that cavity. So I was not comfortable at all, but I thought it was just something you had to do. Anyway, so he did that and then basically went, no, impossible. Your pelvis is the wrong shape, wrong size, wrong tilt. There's no way that you can possibly give birth naturally. And I remember over a series of appointments with him, I was trying to find ways to make it happen. Like, I just wasn't accepting that that was going to be my reality. And I started researching and looking up all these different things because I just thought it was bullshit. And I said, why can't I just trial natural birth? Why can't I trial it? And he was really, really forceful in trying to push me to go down the path of a cesarean. He was telling me that I was putting my child at risk. I was putting myself at risk, that I was selfish for wanting to have a natural birth, and that it was just not going to happen. It literally felt like he had a book of excuses that he went through. Ladies should have a C-section due to this. Like, every time I saw him, he just had like another reason as to why I needed to be a C-section. It was so forced upon me. Honestly, in the back of my head, I just thought, you just want to have your planned golf day so that I don't inconvenience you with, a 3 a.m. birth and you have to get out of bed just to birth my child. And it honestly got to the point where I was like, do you actually care about what I want, what my needs are, what my choices are? Or are you literally just going to force your own opinion down my throat and expect me to just go with what you say? So I kind of went, F you, obstetrician, and your advice and your opinion. I call bullshit. I think I can do it. In fact, I will do it, and I'll prove you wrong. And I did. Doing that led me on this whole other path, this whole other trajectory, and that's what I want to share with you today. So thank you again so much for watching. Thank you for liking and subscribing to the channel. I really appreciate you being here, and I truly hope that my story helps you as well. I was either going to believe what my obstetrician said, or I was going to disbelieve what he said and instead believe in myself. And so that's what I did. I chose to believe myself, to believe in nature and the God-given body that I was born into, that was designed for me to be able to give birth from. When I did that, that was super daunting because it meant that I took the responsibility of my obstetrician, my birth team, and everybody around me, and I placed it 110% on myself. But in the same breath, completely empowering to know that you are 110% in control of your life, your decisions, your emotions, your reality. That was then the catalyst that led me to discovering all the things that I needed to learn in order, essentially, to prove my obstetrician wrong, but also myself right. I started Googling natural birth processes, best ways to give birth naturally, empowering birth stories, other women who were told the same thing. I was looking up, whether or not it is true or not about, is there such thing as a poorly shaped pelvis? And then I looked up, if so, what can you do about it? So essentially it led me on this massive journey of research. And I wasn't entirely sure what I wanted to find every time, but I literally just felt guided, and I felt supported from almost another realm, if you won't believe in that, in order to find the stuff that I ended up finding. So in order to we actually had troubles conceiving William because I was on the pill for like over 10 years. It really screwed with my hormones. Plus, I used to skip a few months at a time, which is probably like really bad. So when I went off, I didn't have a period for 9 months. And like ovulation and all of that was like just all over the place. I had no idea when I was going to get a period. It's just a really hard job getting my body back into its natural rhythm. So in order to conceive William, I thought, you know what, why don't I just get some higher guidance? Because what I've learned in real estate, things like, you know, manifestation, the power of manifestation, the power of positivity, of visualization, of like mantras. So I thought, well, why don't I apply what I know in business to birth? I mean, like worth a shot, right? I had a mantra. I started first with like prayer style, where like I was praying, I guess, and that wasn't really working. And then I realized that the problem when you pray is not that prayer doesn't work. Like I'm a big fan of prayer, but what is more powerful than prayer is actually believing you already are something before you are it. Basically what that means is, instead of praying to have a baby and please give us a baby and we'd really like a baby sort of thing, I turned within. And I literally imagined myself already as a mum. I basically said over and over and over and over and over and over and over, I already am an amazing mother. Instead of, I want to be an amazing mum. I find that when you say, I want something, the reason why you are less likely to manifest it is because you're telling yourself you don't have it. So you're actually reinforcing a belief of something that you don't have. So when you flip it and you say you already are it, the brain actually, and it's proven in studies, the brain doesn't understand the difference between your thoughts and reality. Meaning, whatever you think is so. So it's really important that you watch what you think. It's really important to be mindful of your thoughts because they become your reality. Pretty much, I only had to do that mantra, I already am an amazing mom. I felt like it only took me, it was like 3 months, like less than 3 months. Like it was fast. It was really fast. And like I found out that I was pregnant at 6 weeks. So it was really only like a month and a half and it like was manifested. So like that is so cool. So my point of that is to have a mantra. So the first thing I did was I had a mantra about William. I thought about like, what do I want the most out of this birth? Like, what are my highest priorities? My highest priorities were I wanted to have a natural birth, obviously. I wasn't listening to my obstetrician anymore. There was no doubt in my mind, like I wanted a natural birth. So I was like, well, I've already had a natural birth. Like it's just a formality, but I'm just going to go through this. It's already happened, but it's a natural birth. Then I said to myself, I want to have a really healthy baby. So if I know, like I've already visualized that it's a natural birth and he's healthy and he's safe and everything is good, then the last thing that I really, really want to do is in having a natural birth. Like I was not interested in drugs. I was not interested in any of that sort of stuff. Like I just didn't want any medical intervention at all. I'm flat out taking Panadol even if I'm in excruciating pain. I'd rather just, fight through the headache. Like, damn it, I'll make it through. And I always do. So anyway, the most important thing to me after that was to have a labor that was easy, kind of painless. So then I was like playing around with words, and so I came up with peaceful labor. So my mantra was healthy baby, natural birth, peaceful labor. And I said that to myself, I don't know, like on repeat, whenever like I was just kind of sitting around doing nothing for the day and I just had free space, like I repeated the mantra. I often like took baths as well, and I use baths as an opportunity really to visualize. It's all well and good to say a mantra and it has no weight. So what you really have to do, and from everything that I studied and everything that I researched, not only do you have to have a mantra, something like affirmations that you repeat over and over and over and over. On top of affirmations, you have to put that and connect that with an elevated emotion of love, gratitude. Gratitude is one of the highest elevations of vibration that we have in the universe. So the more that you are in a loving state of gratitude, the more things will just freely flow to you. I took it so much further than visualizing the birth that I actually went away from the birth and I already imagined William as a fully grown adult. So literally, like, I've seen William. He's an amazing human being. At the time, I thought he was a girl, but I couldn't really tell in my visualization. Like, I could just see his aura and his being. But, like, whatever it is that he does in his lifetime is absolutely amazing. And I feel so honored to be his mum. Because I have seen him. Like, it came to me like a full-on, like, flash, like, clear as day, almost like prophecy, that William is hugely inspirational. And I don't hold this like he doesn't need to be. I don't expect this of him. I've just already seen it. And I'll never push him to be anything that he doesn't want to be. I've just seen it, and it's amazing. Anyway, like, he's doing like this public speech, but like there's so many people around him and they just absolutely love whatever it is that he's doing, whatever it is he's doing. Like, he's helping so many people on planet Earth, and it's like the most amazing thing. So anyway, I used to visualize that. So like, I saw him already like healthy, happy, like an adult, fully thriving. So I was fully visualizing. So I was visualizing the natural birth. I was visualizing a healthy baby. I was visualizing a peaceful labor. And like, I just brought all the love and gratitude always to me. Like, I was always thinking of love. I was always thinking of things to be grateful for. I was just always in that space. If you've done anything and if you understand Dr. Masuro Emoto, you'll understand that water in itself has a memory. So with water and water memory, like, there was an experiment done by this fellow called Dr. Masuro, and what he did was he got water, everyday plain Jane water, and then around it, like, he put it in jars, and around the jar he labeled the water different things. So he had love, gratitude, he played heavy metal music to some, he played like classical music to other water. So he like literally sat with it and he put his intention on it. Then what he did was he, like, this is in a like a petri dish, sorry. Then what he did was he took that water and so froze it. I can't remember what temperature, but like really, really froze it down. So it became like a crystal. So then he took the crystal of the water and then put it underneath a microscope. And what he discovered was the water picked up whatever the intention was he put forward to it. So it actually created crystals that were absolutely stunning, depending on the intention. So like, when you look at love or when you look at angel, like, it's crazy. Like, I think it's the angel one where it's like, hey, like the water has created like a symbol of a halo, and gratitude is like this perfect, gorgeous, absolutely amazing crystal. When you like look at the ones that's heavy metal music, it's not a crystal at all. Like, the water's just these yucky, distorted. It looks gross. So it like literally the crystal matched the intention. So I knew that. So when I had a bath, I was not only putting in like amazing bath salts. I was having, what did I do? I did magnesium, an epsom salt, a baking soda, and then I also did like ones where I mixed up my own lavender essential oils, and so I had this really luxurious bath. And I would literally, like, this would be my nightly routine, was I'd have baths all the time because I knew the power of water. So in doing so, knowing that I'm in this body of water, I wanted my water to be the highest elevation possible. So that's why I really focused on gratitude. I played gorgeous music in the background, which I can give you downloads to if you want to hear any of this lovely music. It's all free on YouTube. And then I'd be visualizing. Just love, gratitude, William, the birth, and saying my mantra: natural baby, healthy, natural birth, healthy baby, peaceful labor, peaceful labor, and over and over and over and over and over. And so that's what I did. Literally, at this time, this was like the second to the third trimester was when I really like got heavy onto this. So I had my mantra, I took my baths. And I think that was like, those things alone were massive catalysts. Like there's also things on like certain foods. So I looked into the foods that will help with cervix ripening. Dr. Michael Greger is an amazing resource for that. So there's different foods that you can have. There's certain teas that you can be drinking as well. I also had my essential oils, played a massive role. I was really mindful of basically what I was doing a lot of the time. So I wanted to be the master of my thoughts. So I learned yoga. Yoga taught me that the body needs to be in a parasympathetic state, meaning rest and digest, feed and breathe. It's basically the opposite of stress. We have 6 nervous systems in our body, and the parasympathetic state is responsible for rest and recovery. Basically, if you go way back to like tribal times, if you're in a parasympathetic state, you're able to relax, let go. There's no immediate threat. You can just basically just be within a moment. In order to give birth naturally, women need to be in the parasympathetic state, the rest and recovery state of the body. Even though obviously when you're giving birth, you're not really resting or recovering. But if you can keep your body into that more of a parasympathetic state, what you're not going to do is trigger the sympathetic nervous system. If you trigger the sympathetic nervous system, then you're triggering the immune system response of fight or flight. Fight or flight happens, going back to tribal times, when there's an immediate threat. So if your sympathetic nervous system is triggered, everything in your body shuts down, and all the blood and everything that you need, like your brain shuts down, the part of you that connects with the higher self is gone, and you're literally only able to fight the danger that's immediately in front of you or run away from it. That is not a good place to be giving birth from. That is why I'm not a massive fan of inducing women in labor at all, period. Also why I'm not a massive fan of cesarean, because if you don't have your head state right before a cesarean and you're in the sympathetic fight or flight nervous system, that's not going to end well for your operation either, because of the chemicals that are going through your body at the time. Like, sure, it's all happening and you don't really have to worry about it, but you still come out of it with some level of trauma, and that level of trauma is transferred to baby. So sympathetic nervous system is not what we want. And right now, I think the reason why I really want to talk about this is because a lot of people are operating from their sympathetic nervous system because they think the coronavirus is going to kill them or somebody that they love. So you turn on the TV, it's driving fear, 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 fear. You're not able to use your rational, logical side of your brain. That part gets shut down. You're now in like the crocodile version of your brain, meaning that you have like no ability to rationalize anymore. I'm really sorry to say it. If you are feeding and fueling into this fear, you are likely into a sympathetic nervous system state. The only way to get out of that is to do things that are counter to that. Come back to the love, come back to meditation, come back to things that slow you down, remind you that we're all connected, remind you that you're safe, remind you that you're grounded. That's the role of the parasympathetic nervous system. It plays a massive, massive, massive role in childbirth, and I think it's underrated. So yoga taught me about that. Yoga taught me about deep breathing and breath work, which is like a whole topic to itself. I try and tell this to as many people as I possibly can in my lifetime, because I think people take it for granted, and it is so true. It's not funny. The number one reason that you are going to die of natural causes here If you can't have oxygen, or you can't have water, or you can't have food, if they were your three choices, the first reason you're going to die is lack of oxygen. You can last a really long time without food. Probably, like some people literally fast well and truly over a month. Like well and truly over a month. Some people can go without water for, I think it's about 5 to 7 days. You can go without water. If you're bringing salt into your body, you can probably get a little bit further along without water. So, but the number one reason you're going to die is lack of oxygen. You think about drowning, you're going to die within probably like a couple of minutes, especially if you're in the sympathetic nervous state. Because you're stressing, you're like literally just not even in a state where you can bring yourself back to center and ground yourself and think logically about the situation. So you're probably going to increase your chance of dying. Yeah, there's no other way to say it. The third number one reason you can die is lack of oxygen. So if you think about that, oxygen must play a massive role in your ability to be able to survive and thrive. If you look at somebody like Wim Hof, he's like the Iceman. He like literally no shit. He does some crazy ass shit. He strips naked, just about, like only in trunks, and like goes hiking in the Himalayas, like in the middle of winter, like I actually can't tell you how low he's gone because I can't remember off the top of my head, but like sub-zero temperatures, wearing no clothes. And not only has he done it, but he's taught students to do it. And his technique is breath work. That's it. And so what he says is breath work increases the adrenaline in your body, increases your natural immunity, increases a whole bunch of amazing things that are actually really good and healing for your body. He deliberately and intentionally in his work puts himself through stress and uses the breath and I guess a form of meditation in order to pull himself through that in the most bizarre circumstances. He also does ones where like he's completely submerged underwater. He's just an incredible human being. Watch stuff on him. He's nuts. Like he's so nuts that he said with the coronavirus, just give it to me. Like give me an injection. Like actually give me the virus, not the vaccine. Give me the virus and I will show you it doesn't exist because I will overcome it with just breath. Which is like incredibly crazy. But he's done it before. Like, so they did an experiment where they injected his body, like literally injected his body with E. coli. So E. coli meaning like fecal coliform, meaning shit. They injected his body with shit. If your bloodstream came in contact with shit, you would be so many kinds of screwed up. It's not funny. Like it would wreak havoc on your body. Like you would be so sick. He wasn't even phased. Like he just did his deep breathing, got himself into like a meditative state, and I think in a couple of hours he was like fine. It was gone. Like the E. coli was completely gone out of his bloodstream. Like literally, like he's crazy. So anyway, deep breath, deep breathing, breath work, amazing. I did it every night, no fail. There's a couple of different, like just look up breathing and there's just so many different ways that you can do it. There's like, there's a yoga practice, like literally just on breath work. I can't remember what it's called, but I mean like really. It's crazy how quickly you can get yourself back into rhythm when you just breathe. Life-saving shit. Life-saving shit. Anyone who wants to debate that breathing will not save your life, they can go talk to Wim Hof and he'll show you what for. So my breathing routine was 10 in, 2 to hold, and 8 out. And that's what I used to go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that's what I used to do. So I would practice that. And I found every time I did, my heartbeat started slowing down. I felt in more coherence. Another side note that you might want to check out is heart math. Like seriously, heart math is like the coolest thing. Like they have all these graphs of basically when you get your heart in coherence with your brain, like how you basically come back to center and you just feel amazing. I can't remember, like I did heart math a while ago, but I knew it enough to understand the concept, and that knowing that your heart and brain in coherence is like the ideal state that you want to be in pretty much at all times, if you can possibly be. Right, so yoga, deep breathing, breath work, mantra, bars, foods, essential oil, yoga. I think that was it. Education. So the last thing that I really needed, like that would complete my puzzle, was seeing a doula, because I literally knew nothing about birth and what to expect. And I think when you go into something and you have no idea what on earth to expect, you become very vulnerable, and especially like in the medical system where they have their system, procedure, practice, and this is how it goes. I think when you go into something like that, you can be really vulnerable if you've never been in that situation before. And I definitely am not good. So know thyself. I know that I'm really shit under pressure. So if somebody puts me on a crap load of pressure, I like historically have been crap, especially if I didn't like no prediction of the event coming, like surprises. Like I don't like being put under pressure and like asked to make a decision like that. I just know that that is not my area. I just don't deal. I don't know why. That's just who I am. So knowing that, I was like, shit, like if I'm in hospital and then they want to try and inject me with something, or if they are pushing whatever shit that they want to push on me, like get me to have an epidural, or if they want me to have gas, or whatever it is that they want, I want to fully understand what that means. I want to fully understand the whole process, like the literal path that you can go down, because I don't want to go down those paths, and I want to know what my options are going to be so that I can make decisions on the spot. So it's so funny when I met my birth doula, when I met Trudy, I was literally with my hubby and mum, and Trudy said to me, like, what is your plan? Like, what is your birth plan? And I was like, well, airy, la la la. And I sort of said to her, look, I'm just happy to go with the flow. And she said, that is your first mistake. And I said, why? Like, it just doesn't matter. Like, I'll go with the flow, everything will be fine. And she's like, no, that's not how it works. It's not how it works when you're in a hospital. You don't just say, I'll go with the flow. You say, I'll go with the flow. They will do whatever it is that is their standard system and procedure. And you're just going to be, like, literally sent on a whirlwind of whatever it is that they want you, not necessarily because it's the right thing for you. It's just because what they're used to doing. And I'm like, oh, shit, okay. It was like, right. I'm glad I booked this appointment. Tell me more. So, like, she literally went through the entire birth process. She showed me the different paths, the different things that you can choose if you want for pain relief, the things that you can say yes to, the things that you can say no to, which pretty much you can say no to anything. It is your body and your birth experience. But, like, things that I had already looked at when I was, like, looking at the pelvis and whatever, like, I knew I really wanted to give birth in a squat. Like, I know that sounds crazy, but I really wanted to give birth in a squat because from my research, the distance a baby has to travel is like halved when you're in a squat position, because your pelvis opens up more and it's more sort of like contracted, and you're then using gravity to help baby get out. So I wanted to give birth in a squat. And so then she also helped my partner with techniques of how he could help soothe me and different massages. And so then, like, from that, we had all of this equipment and stuff just ready to go. And on top of that, we actually had a birth plan. So I knew exactly what I wanted. And so did my husband. Did it all going according to plan? No. But I knew things like I wanted to, like if I went through an entire natural birth, there was no chance in hell that I wasn't going to birth my placenta naturally. I didn't know this until I spoke to Trudy. But literally, as soon as you've given birth to your baby, they jab shit into you. I think it's adrenaline again. Like, so if you know how to breathe, you don't need that shit. But they jab, I can't remember what the fuck it's called. They jab a thing into you, and it basically gets your uterus to contract, and then the placenta is birthed. I didn't even realize that you had to birth a placenta, firstly. So I was like, oh shit. So then, yeah, so I didn't want to do that. I wanted to have delayed cord clamping. I've read a lot about that. I had researched into vaccines and giving a baby hepatitis B, for example, that's a sexually transmitted disease. The likelihood of a baby getting hepatitis B is really freaking low. Why the heck they give babies hepatitis B as soon as they're given, like, born into, here, have a sexually transmitted disease? Makes no friggin' sense. Do your research on the hepatitis B vaccine and decide whether or not that is right for you and your baby. I do not think it is, but that's my personal decision from the research that I conducted. So essentially, there's a whole bunch of shit that I learned from Trudy. Like, I mean, you don't have to get a doula, but it's really good. I think there's a couple of different forums that are out there for women. They probably would have been out there then, but like, I don't know. I feel like I'm always divinely guided. For whatever reason, nothing in my life has been a mistake. Like, I've majorly screwed up in a lot of areas of my life, but it was never a mistake. Like, it was exactly where I needed to be at exactly the right time. It was exactly the lesson that I needed to learn. There's literally no mistake. So I literally felt led to Trudy. And I did a couple of yoga classes with her as well, and that was cool as well. Like, just to be surrounded by other pregnant women who were either giving birth before you or after you, but to be in that space with those other people was just awesome. So yeah, they're the things that I did to prep. So come the day of William's birth, if you want to talk about your experiences, I would love to hear them. Please share them in the comments below. I am so pro women and your choice as a woman to do what your body was damn well designed to do. I truly hope that you got something out of this. And if nothing else, the number one thing that I'd love for you to take away is just to breathe. Believe me when I tell you, if you can master your breath, you will master your natural birth. And I am so excited to hear your birth story. It makes my heart very happy to know I've shared this information. So thank you so much for being here. Bye. Oh yeah, that was like the other thing. Everything that Hollywood ever taught you about birth is bullshit. Bullshit! Right. I'm happy with that. I'm so happy with that. I'm so glad I'm doing this. Love, 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 love. I want to try natural birth, man. And he's like, no, you're not trying natural birth. But that's out of the way. Stop reflecting. Stop reflecting. Long story short, F you, obstetrician. Why are you here? Nope. I'm assuming you're here because you want to know. I'm not assuming, I know. This is actually going to be a little bit of a, this is actually, because it's actually me, actually, strong, independent woman who don't take no crap from nobody, yet he did an internal, please stop reflecting.